Coming to you live at the GAMA Trade Show at the Peppermill Resort and Casino in Reno, Nevada, Twist Gaming! Now take it away, Matt. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming. I'm Matt, and we're here live at GAMA 2019, bringing you all the board game coverage all week long. And today, first thing in the morning, I am joined here with Jared from Asmodee.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Jared, how you doing?
Doing good. How about you?
Fantastic. It's always good to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you.
But first and foremost, how's the con treating you so far? Or the trade show, rather.
Right. So far, so good. I mean, I got in around midnight last night.
Okay. So you're still getting your bearings then.
Yep. Just this morning, kind of running around. You're my first people I'm meeting with. I was like, Twist got to be first on my schedule.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yep. But yeah, good.
All right. So you brought us a handful of games to show off today, and I'm excited to just jump right into it.
Okay.
So let's do it. What's up first?
All right. So first we have I'm gonna do this, and then you're gonna make it work. I have Mega City Oceania from Hub Games.
Okay.
Hub Games, they people might know of Holding On.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And Blank. So actually, one of the designers of Michael Fox, the designer, he worked on this with Jordan Draper, who is known for the Tokyo series. And this is actually kind of a re-envisioning of the Tokyo Jitaku game he had, because Hub Games saw that at Essen, and they were like, this is great. Let's work together, you, Jordan and Michael, and we're going to make this game. So, do you like building things?
I'm an engineer, so yes.
Okay, great. And have you ever wanted to build a floating city?
When have I not wanted to build a floating city?
So that's what you're doing in Mega City.
Okay.
Overpopulation, rising sea levels, none of this is ripped from the headlines, has caused people to want to start developing in the middle of the ocean.
Okay.
And the way we are doing that is you're going to have these different contracts for different buildings. And I will pick one that will show up if you want to kind of...
Sure thing.
So those different contract cards are actually going to tell you the types of buildings you're going to be actually putting together. And you're using physical pieces that I can let you trade out here that we'll be drawing from a bag to actually construct buildings for what that card is asking for. So in that case, these are not final, so this is a prototype.
Okay.
But you've got a glass material, which is clear, the concrete, which is gray.
I don't know why I wanted to show that
it works out. Concrete, which is gray, and then the black is steel.
Okay.
So you have different building materials, and then those cards themselves are going to tell you what you need to do. So in the case of the one you have over there, it needs to be 35 plus stories, and that's where this little measurement stick comes in there.
I thought this was a thermometer at first.
It could be. If you want to house rule it, it can be a thermometer.
But that's cool.
Yeah. So and we'll get to actually showing the buildings, but that's going to measure your building. It's going to need 6 pieces in that case. And then also you'll see there's a little picture down there. What that one is saying is you can have no pieces that are kind of hanging off of each other.
Gotcha.
Because sometimes you may want to do that for stability reasons, but in this case it's like, no, how you stack these, they have to be kind of perfect in how you're doing it.
So is there like a dexterity element to this game?
There is. We're going to get to that. So the nice thing is, in this game, all of us are always going to be doing something, even if it's not your turn. Because while it's not your turn, you're actually taking these pieces, and you have these different locations that you're building on. So you have residential, which is a house. You have commercial, which is kind of this little storefront.
This might be a little green screen. Yeah,
but you can still see the little building on there. And then you have public buildings.
Okay.
And then industrial buildings. So, depending on the contract you'll see that they're all color-coded, but they're also symbols. So, if you're not, we want to make it pretty accessible, so we utilize the symbols and the colors. So you're actually building these buildings on these locations.
Okay.
So if you have, in the case of something like if it's a red card with the house on it, you'd have to have a plot that is a red one.
Right.
Obviously. So now the dexterity part comes in. On your turn, you have a couple different actions you can choose from. So you have 2 standard actions. That can be, you can take one of the there'll be 3 of these out here. I kind of have this set up for 4 players, but just to kind of get more out there. But on your standard action, you can choose to take a tile from here that you might need. That would be one action. You could choose to take a one of these cards to build with, or you could choose to cycle them, which means I would take, if I don't want this one up here, maybe I see that you might want it or it's just in my way, I can say I'm going to send this one to the back.
Okay, so you don't remove it from the game.
Correct. You just kind of cycle it to the back, so you can, maybe you want to get closer to one that's under there. You can also you can flip a zone tile, so rezoning. So one of the nice things here is if there's tiles out here that you can't use, there's always going to be a chance that you're still going to be able to do something. I mean, there's lots of actions you can take, but specifically if you want to do this, you can see there's a square here that is a different color than this purple. So it's red, which matches like the house.
The
so
residential.
That is a hint of like, oh, if I rezone this, it's going to rezone to residential.
Oh, so example here is on the public building here. If I flip this, this is going to turn into the storefront?
Yes, the commercial. Yep.
Commercial, yeah.
Yeah, and those...
that's cool.
So not only do those show you what's on the other side of the tile, they're also vents that you can't cover up when constructing.
Oh.
So, and we'll get into the specifics of construction because that's kind of the fun part, but just to kind of run us down all these, you can also refresh the zone tiles where you can, if say you can't rezone, one of your actions could be to refresh the pile and get some new ones out there for you.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and do that. Why don't you, so on my turn, I could do, if I wanted to, I could do 2 of the same standard actions on the same thing.
Okay. So draw 2 cards, cycle 2 cards.
Right, I could do that. In this case, and we actually forgot the most important one. I did. You didn't.
I mean, yeah. I hope I didn't forget.
Yeah, you didn't.
Otherwise, you would have told me.
But the most important one is all these fantastic building pieces.
Right.
So you're going to need these. Let's say if you were the 3rd player, you would have started with 2 of these. So the first player, even though you got a huge pile there.
Yeah, got a little extra.
Yeah, so the way it works is the first player doesn't start with any building pieces, and then as you go around, players get 1 extra piece. So second player 1, third
player 2. Okay.
Yeah. And that's because they're kind of going later. It gives them a little heads up. But one of your other actions is actually taking pieces from the bag. So you can blind draw 3 construction pieces. So you would just go, okay, I got these 3.
Okay.
You never know what material you're going to get. But you could also choose to do that action, specifically call out a type of material you want. So you could say, for this one, I'm going to forego just getting 3 random and just like, I really need a glass piece for my building, so I'm going to go in there, get the glass piece.
So you could hunt for a specific shape piece as well? Or
just the type.
Okay.
So yeah. But you're going to call it out and you say, I need this type of material. You're going to go in there and you can basically just find that piece you want in that material.
Gotcha.
And put it out. But that's the only piece you're going to get that turn. If for some reason there's none of that left, you don't lose your turn. You actually still can just go ahead, shake it back up, and blind draw your 3. So there's not a penalty.
Okay.
So let's just go ahead and I'll give you a couple of these, and then I'll take a couple. So what's going to happen here is, so while I'm doing my turn and I'm deciding, okay, what do I want to take? Do I want to take this, this, this? You are actually working on these if you can.
Oh, okay.
So we're in this, for the sake of being able to kind of show this off, we're kind of just going to do a little bit. You've got some pieces over there.
Seed the constructions a little bit.
Yeah, so while I'm taking my turn, you can actually start looking and go, let's get you ones that will work.
So, question for you: these don't specify the actual material on here, or do
no?
They? No.
So the thing we were going to get to, that's another thing. So in this case, if you want to show that one, you'll see how it has the black piece crossed out.
So no steel.
No steel.
And 45 stories.
45 stories. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's part of this is actually getting the tallest building. That can get you more points as you go. So the way we set this up is going to be a little hard, but what's going to happen is these are parks, and I'll get to these in a second. But we're building off of these right here. And again, what I just did, not legal. I should have taken it from here, but just so we can kind of get to the dexterity part. So what's going to happen is, in my case, well, in your case, since you're an engineer, I think
Oh,
I just have full faith that you're going to do this.
Oh,
You're
boy.
going to master it.
oh boy.
So let's say you're working on this one.
Okay,
You can
so-
choose whichever one you're working on.
I'll show this one off.
But yeah,
in the
it's
window
the
there.
it has to have 30 plus stories. Use at least use 5 pieces actually, and then you'll see on that one it has your little modifier is it has to have an upper archway. That means there must be an open portion that is not touching
Kind of like
the plot.
this one right here.
Yeah. So in your case, you'd have to have a base on top of this, and then that arch on top of there.
Right.
If it's a lower archway, it could be something like this.
Okay.
So now, one more thing before you start constructing, I haven't told you, is you'll see that on this red piece there are these 3 small circles. Those are utilities. So buildings don't work without utilities. So your construction has to at least touch every one of those.
But I can't cover
But you
this.
can't
in the
cover
middle.
that one.
Oh.
I might have given you one that is a little bit challenging, but again,
Okay.
you're an engineer. I believe in you. So yeah, and some of them, and then sometimes the card will actually tell you cover the vent.
Okay.
But in most cases, you're not unless the card's going to tell you to.
Gotcha.
So while I'm doing this, you can actively just build, and that's the cool part is players are always building when it's not their turn to kind of re-up what they're doing.
One more question for you here
Yeah.
is: can I do multiple pieces across the bottom, like something like that?
Yep.
Or okay.
Yeah. So in that case, that was like you solved that one perfectly because it's not covering it up, and you're meeting that requirement.
All right.
So if we build a couple things on here during my turn, let's say I took well, I can only have 2 of these, so at a time.
Okay.
So I can't take any more of these. Same with your plots. So in this case, I could take another one because I just have one. Or you can. So let's say I'm kind of deciding what do I want to do. If I want to do one of my standard actions, rezone. So I might rezone this one and say, okay, I want to flip to that side, and I want to draw 3 more pieces for my pile. That whole time you're building.
Well, I should have been building.
Well, you should have been building. And then I would be done with my standard action, and we'd go to you. If you're still building, that's fine. You just take a normal turn and just do some standard actions. But let's say you're at the point where you're ready to, you've constructed your masterpiece, right? You have your masterpiece. Now, you'll notice this is over here with you.
Right.
We're trying to get this building into the ocean around this central park.
Okay.
So we kind of have some stuff in the way, but you'll actually have to move your piece across the table.
Oh, so you have to build sturdy.
Well, or just be really good at sliding pieces.
Gotcha. So we're gonna scoot this over here, and
Yep.
oh, that's wiggling a little bit.
And
But-
you have to connect it because this is the first one. It has to connect to that central park.
Okay.
While we're building our mega city, so it's kind of cooperative in the sense is that we're all working together to actually make this really cool, beautiful city. Especially once you get all these pieces and all the different designs going, it starts to look really, really unique and interesting on the table.
I'm gonna say table presence is probably really awesome.
It's
on
amazing,
this,
like
yeah.
because what we're looking at here is eventually these tiles are going to go out as far as 3. So they have to go. They can go out as far as 3. So you
From the central
from the
park
central
hub.
park.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's going to have pretty good size, and you're going to have lots of different buildings. In this case, if you were the first building, yours. Well, first before we went over there, we should have checked it.
Oh, sure. Oh, I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
Only had to be 30 plus.
Yeah, you are. So before we would have slid it over, we've got to the exciting part, right? We would have all, put on our glasses and checked our paperwork and gone, okay, he did it.
Check the permits.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. All of that. And then if it's clear, you slide it on in. Now, if it falls on the way in, that sucks. So
I mean, yeah.
yeah, you have to take it back and you just have to start rebuilding.
I was gonna say, do you lose your building materials? Or
No.
Okay.
So in that case, you just take it back, and
Okay.
then you start rebuilding. But you're done because your delivery failed. So you don't get to take your standard actions.
Now, what happens if it's already in there, and then when you're going to dock another piece, if you inadvertently bump it a little bit?
So that can happen. Obviously, what happens there is if any those aren't removed. There's still credit. It's just now your city is kind of looking a little worse for wear. Any of the pieces that touch the table are just removed from the game because they fell into the ocean. And then those buildings remain there as they are. So you don't have to go rebuild them.
Gotcha.
So that we wanted to have that dexterity in there, but also it needs to be fun and not punishing, right?
Oh,
Especially
absolutely.
because you're always moving these new buildings in here.
Right.
What's going to happen? We're going to go through. We're going to build. Once all of these contract cards are complete, you know, I want to build a building really quick here. Let's say, so I'm going to do this one. It's 8+. I don't have to
8
do
plus.
anything.
55 stories. Did you bite off more than you can chew?
I was going to say, I can't do this one quick. Okay, you know what? This is, hold on. See, I don't have to really, let's see, how many pieces is that?
You can keep stacking all the pieces that way, I guess.
Yeah. See, so this, during my turn, I would be doing this.
Here you
I would
go.
be making a fool out of myself.
You'd have a few more.
And then you would just be like, man, this
Oh.
guy, clearly not an engineer. Plus, I've completely misplaced my...
You built it on the park.
I did. I'm
Yeah.
a fool. So, anyway. Now, what's also going to happen here, since you were the first person in there, we all have a park that we start with.
Yes.
You could put your park out and just put that next to here.
So does that then let you extend it by another 3 off of that?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
What that's going to do is once that park is there, if you build next to a park, you can put a monument in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can just take a piece and you can put that in there when the next person that builds next to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to give a bonus to all the buildings around it for influence points because this is what we're earning.
Oh, okay.
Because in this case, you completed this one, you'd flip it over. You have those 3 influence points now.
And that's what these icons are at the
Yep.
bottom there. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and so you can gain more influence by making pretty parks and building your parks around, like your buildings around those. And then the central park is a little bit different. So just because you put that on there, you don't get to build in there. What happens is you have to build a public facility to be able to build a monument in Central Park.
Okay.
So if you would have completed, let's see, do we have if I actually went through with building this, one right here, and I put it on the table,
Right.
I would have permissions to build a monument inside Central Park.
Gotcha.
Next person can choose to replace that. The benefit of doing that is every time you build a monument in Central Park, so it bumps the other monument, but you gain an influence point. So
Okay.
I would still keep mine, but you would get another one because now you're going, oh, look, now look, I'm making it beautiful too.
Gotcha.
So once all these contracts are complete or off the table, let's say, that's when these landmark contracts come out. There's only 4 of them. And this is a way in the end game.
Well, that's a lot of influence down there.
Yes, this is a way in the end game to, you'll put them over there, but to let people see them better. But this is a way to gain a lot of influence. But you'll also notice these are all 75 plus.
Big buildings.
And they have more restrictions than your regular cards. So in that case, you can't
no
use steel.
and you have to build this funky shape too?
Well, that one just means you have to have a lower archway.
okay.
So that was the one where your archway would have to be actually on your plot instead of raised above it.
Okay.
And in this case, like this red one here, it's a lower and an upper archway is required with 8+ pieces and 75 stories tall.
Good luck scooting that into the middle of the table.
Yes,
Yeah.
but they look very impressive. So like I said, once these are all chosen, like they're all claimed, and there'll be a lot of buildings out here by that time because you can only have 2 of these at a time.
Okay.
That's when the landmark cards come out. Once all of these are complete, like we've all completed our standard contracts, the game ends. So the landmarks, if you don't claim them,
Nothing happens.
nothing's going to happen. But if you're one of those people who have gone really fast in doing your standard contracts, you could really jump ahead if you have it. From there, what's going to happen is everyone's going to get one more chance to either recycle pieces, and that means get rid of extra pieces you have, because if you have more pieces at the end of the game, you're actually going to lose influence because
so
you're wasting material, right?
That makes sense.
Or you can do one more development, and actually deliver your one more tower if you have it.
Gotcha. So if you have enough, you can squeak it out last minute.
Right,
then.
exactly. After that, we've all earned different influence points through these cards. There's been influence points for you have the largest building. That's what this little marker is. So if you put out the largest marker building, you can take this. You get an influence point. It just hops around to the largest buildings. From there, we start doing awards.
Okay.
So
I was going to ask what those were.
Yes, this board is for the end. These are different rewards you get. So if you have the most residential,
2 influence.
you'll get 2 influence. So every sector has its own thing if you have the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then also if you're the person who has sets of all of them,
Right.
you can get this 3. And then if you end up having the tallest, if you are the player with the tallest building at the end, you are going to get even
3
more
influence.
influence points. And the way you track buildings, because I'm sure it's like, oh, we're lost, is when actually you're delivering this, you'll just have this set on there.
Yeah, I was going to ask what those cubes were for, too.
Yeah, just that little piece goes on there so we can tell whose building is what.
Gotcha. Claim it as your own.
Exactly. It doesn't count towards building material, but it can count towards height.
Oh, it
So
can.
if you're feeling, especially...
So that's your antenna at the top of the Empire State Building.
If you're feeling like you could really get that over there and not fall off, then you get a little extra bonus out of that.
Very cool.
So yeah, that's the game. Obviously, we didn't get to have it where the whole city is built up because
Right.
it's a really group experience. Even though there is a winner at the end,
It's still like you're making this thing
yeah,
together.
because you all want it to look good. You want this. So at the end, you've got this like beautiful tower. You can take pictures, post it online. It's a lot of fun. So this is going to be doing an early release at Gen Con.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so it's still got a little more time coming. This was a prototype.
Right.
But early release at Gen Con and then wider release shortly after.
Fantastic. And do you have a price point set on it?
It is, I believe it is 50.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And these components are staying similar? Or are these
Similar-
going to cardboard?
No, so these are still going to be plastic.
Oh, cool.
These are kind of hard-edged. They might be a little... they're not going to be rounded in the sense of making it hard to build with.
Right.
But they might just be a little more nuanced,
Gotcha.
These pieces are always going to remain plastic, and then the rest will be cardboard and, the little markers like this.
Right.
So,
All right. So that's Mega City Oceania.
Mega City Oceania Hub Games.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So what else have you brought for us?
Oh, boy.
You got a lot of stuff.
I was going to say, I got a lot of stuff, and I put it all out of reach. Perfect.
Good thing we have a
planning.
lovely production assistant here.
Yes. So we'll go a little bit.
I'm going to help you as much as I can here with these.
Thank you.
Just because this game has table presence, but that also means that it's all over the table.
Yes, it's true. It's We'll do the thing where I let future Jared.
Oh, future
worry.
Jared's not going to be happy with current
Nope.
Jared.
I've been making future Jared really mad for a long time. With
So you're pro at it.
how I put up games. So I think we'll be okay.
Okay.
He'll get over it.
I'll ask him later.
Yeah. Oh, drag. Yes. Yeah. Just swipe it all into
Swipe
the
it all
box.
in the box?
Like
Okay.
just make. I'm sure people are just cringing right
Yeah.
now. Believe me, future Jared will be too. This is the price you pay to throw lots of games.
But that looks like a lot of fun. I'm excited to actually get my hands
It
on
is
that.
like once you can like sit down and really spend that time, it's a lot of fun, and it's nice because there is no downtime, which is
Right.
great. All right, the next one people are going to be familiar with probably, or at least the title of Patchwork. This is Patchwork Doodle.
Patchwork Doodle.
Yes. So you may have guessed there is some doodling to be done.
It's a little drawing mechanic there.
Yes.
Okay.
So you're going to be rolling and drawing in this game. And have you played Patchwork before?
I actually haven't.
Okay. So in Patchwork, you're trying to create the best quilt. And in normal Patchwork, you have tiles. There you go.
Okay.
In normal Patchwork, you would have tiles that you're placing on your board.
Okay.
In this case, we're going to each have our little pad here.
Mm-hmm.
That is our quilt we're making. See, we got the perfect color for you, so it'll be invisible.
Slightly see-through. They're opaque in real life.
Yes, in real life they are. They're not see-through. So, I'm going to just give us one of our. This is your your random patch to start with. So you're building this quilt out of multiple patches.
Okay.
You have a starting patch there, which is 7, which that will probably be a little bit see-through as well. Now, that is your first one that you can draw onto your board.
Okay.
And or your pad there. And I'll give you a little pencil so we can check out your drawing capabilities.
Oh, absolutely awful. Zero artistic abilities.
Well, luckily, these are just
they're
hard
different
lines.
colors.
Yes. So with this, you don't have to match like the actual shapes and stuff inside.
What if I want to draw fishies?
But if you want, like while I'm taking my turn or something, you can actually start to color in your different things.
Gotcha.
And we'll kind of show that here. So what's going to happen is you have this deck of cards that are just more, if you want to put a couple over there, just more patches. And again, people who've played Patchwork will be very familiar with this design, and that's a good clear one right there. So I'm going to deal out 8 of these around here.
Okay.
And then we'll have this in the middle. And then I'm going to randomly put, I'm actually, okay, people can actually see it. So to start, we would take and we're going to draw our
starting shape.
Yes. And you just need to draw it exactly how it is.
Same orientation.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, sorry, not same orientation, but the same composition.
Okay.
So if you can flip it, so in this case, where this one's like this, that has this shadowy part, that's it flipped. That means you can flip it.
Oh, so you can mirror image.
Yeah,
of it.
you can rotate them any way you see fit.
Okay.
And so what you first do is you'll just take this and you'll draw it that you'll draw just the outline at first, just so you kind of have that set.
And then we could doodle in the fishies later.
Yeah, exactly. So you put that anywhere you want on your canvas.
I'm a noob.
Yes.
What's your recommendation? Middle, side?
So I'm a terrible person to ask because I go into all games without strategy.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I find it to be the best way to win and to lose, because if you lost, you go, I didn't know what I was doing.
Right. And
if you win, you're just like,
I'm awesome.
Yeah, I'm great. But in general, I tend to start from a corner.
Okay.
But if you start in the middle, it kind of gives you a lot of options to build around.
Right.
So in my case, I'm going to start kind of in the middle here and just draw out my piece here, and we're just starting with the line, and we will be doing a little shading, because the shading is going to be important once we fully draw our piece, so we know where it is on our board.
Okay.
All right, so once you're happy, you just kind of shade that in a little bit, just so that all of us can see what's on there.
Okay.
Bringing crayons along with this game is great. I just didn't have any. Because that's when you can really get into the different designs.
Yeah, my tablecloth's not making this easy on me right now. I can kind of see it, but that's fine.
So do you want to bear down?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So anyway, so that's your initial starting piece. There you go. And what's going to happen on a turn is we have 3 rounds. Each is made up of 6 turns.
Okay.
Sounds like a lot, but it goes by pretty fast. So what's going to happen is on a turn and a round, you roll this dice. It's got 3. It's 1 through 3.
Okay.
You take this guy and you go 1, 2, 3, and that is now the piece that we all have to draw.
Oh, okay.
So
can you do either direction, or is it always clockwise?
It's going clockwise.
Okay.
So he lands on that. It's like, okay, now we all draw this piece.
Okay.
And you would just figure out where you want to draw. It doesn't have to connect.
Okay.
At first. Eventually, though, I will say, you'll notice there's the 1, 2, and 3. So after every round, we're going to do scoring. And there's this one here that has a little minus symbol. You lose points for every blank space.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, that little one after the 3 is where you kind of lose your points. And what we would do is we go around. Now we all draw this and we add it to our quilt. Just kind of any way you see fit.
Okay. What? Oh, thank you.
And then I'm going to change my color up here.
Okay.
And then you would just shade that in. So the shading becomes important because of those empty spaces, right? Because that lets you see what's not shaded in. And then this card is removed.
Okay.
And this guy's here, and then we are going to roll again.
So we don't replace the cards.
No, because that's how we're counting the turns in the round.
Gotcha.
So what's going to happen now, we rolled 1, so now we just go to this piece.
Okay.
And we're going to keep doing that. So once it gets down to, once we're like, okay, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'd have these 2 cards left. Mm-hmm. We've gone 6 turns with doing this, so we'd have a board that's really filling out here, and then we would do our initial scoring.
Okay.
The way you do scoring is you try to find the biggest rectangle you have.
Okay.
In this case, since we've only have 2, it's a little hard to see here, but
I'll throw that in.
Yeah,
the green
I went ahead and used green, so it
actually shows up
good.
good.
It actually shows up pretty good. So you'll see kind of in the middle of mine, I have a rectangle.
You have a 3x3 here.
Yeah, that 3x3
3x2
rectangle.
rather.
Yeah. What's going to happen? So you pick that rectangle, and then you take the largest square in the rectangle, and you score 1 point for everything in that square. So in that case, I get 4 points.
1, 2, 3,
4. And then I have 1 column left. I'd get 1 point for that remaining column.
Okay.
So it's and then as this is getting bigger, you're getting more options for the rectangle you want to pick out, and then that larger square, and then more rows. Every row or column that's left out of your initial scoring square is going to be an additional point.
Oh, okay.
We do that exact same thing, 3 more turns. On the last turn, on the third round with the last turn, you're going to have you're going to stop, and you're going to have 3 cards left, and you can draw any of those. So it's just kind of a little extra thing at the end
to help you fill in the blank spots there.
Yeah. And so there's some other options though, and we'll need another one of these back over there. You'll notice that under that red outline of the box, that's where your final score is going to go, but you have these 4 little things there with the little check marks. You have the first one, which is the red patch with arrows next to it. Mm-hmm. That means if you use this ability, and you can only use it once in the entire game, you can, instead of drawing the one that the piece landed on, you could draw either the one to the right or the left if you choose to use that ability. You can use it at any time. So in this case...
But one-time use.
Yeah, so in this case, if we're on this guy here, and you're like, well, I really want this one, you could check off that and go, I'm drawing this one.
Okay.
But it still stays out. It doesn't go away just because you chose to use that ability. This is the one that's still being removed.
Makes sense.
The next one is just that little 1. That is a 1 patch. So let's say if you've got yourself into a situation where you have 1 in the middle, this is going to be your way out.
Gotcha.
To fill in 1 little square. Now the cut one is pretty interesting. So that one, if you use it, you can take whatever patch you're drawing and cut it once to 2 pieces.
Oh.
So let's say on this one, you'll see that you could cut it as long as if you cut it like that way.
Or this way.
Yeah, if you cut it that way, you'd have those 2 different pieces there, and you could choose to use like one of those.
So that'll give you a single square here,
right?
And
Single
then
square
this L.
or that one, right?
Cool.
Some of them, if you cut them, like so, this one, well, that's a starting one, but there are some where there's somewhere you could end up with more, and you'll notice there are some ones in there.
Right.
But you can never cut it. Of course, I'm drawing. Okay, here's a good one. So if you were to cut that long ways down. Where it would end up with 3, like long ways across. Sorry, yeah. You couldn't do that. Wouldn't be legal because you'd end up with 3 different spots.
If you cut it just here on this line, then
the thing is, you're going all the way across.
You're
cutting across. So yeah. So in that case, you would be cutting
only
you could
vertically.
Cut right. Exactly.
Okay.
But that gives you a little bit of options of how you play with that patch, and kind of like when you're actually quilting, which I don't know if you're a quilter.
I am not.
Okay. You're working with a lot of different. You're cutting things and putting them in how they work. Mm-hmm. And then that last one, the last option we have, actually lets you reuse one of those other ones. So I lied to you a little bit when I said that you can only use them once because
I trusted you.
Well, it is true. It just happens to be that the 4th one that you can only use once lets you break that rule.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, so you just go around and you fill this in, you make a beautiful quilt, and then you add up all the points, you subtract for any empty spaces, and then you have your winner.
Perfect.
And then you can put this on your refrigerator and show everyone who comes over, like, look at this beautiful quilt I made.
I might do that actually.
I think it's a good idea. But yeah, that's Patchwork. This is a fantastic quick version of Patchwork for people who love that game. It can be played for 1 to 6 players. So what's nice is if you're just looking for a solo game, it's more of a beat a high score. So like get more than 100 points and you're doing pretty well.
Gotcha.
And it's also great because unlike the other one, you can get creative with it because you're drawing, so you can really start to fill in those pages. But,
so also what I'm seeing here is this one, I see you have a number people printed on the box, but it's a plus there, right? So
yeah, so I said 1 to 6, but it's 1 to 6
infinitely
plus.
expandable.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we're all using the same pieces and it's just these pads that we're working off, you could have 50 people play it.
You could set up in a room with a projector.
Right, exactly.
And
you could get crazy
microphone.
with
Yeah.
it. But it's a quick game. It's about 20 minutes, and it's just a lot of fun. Everyone's drawing and having fun. So this is great. Whether you've played Patchwork or not, this is a great game, and it's just a lot of fun.
Very cool.
This one is Q2, and it's $19.99.
Nice.
From Lookout Games.
All right. So we've got a few more minutes here, and we got a few more games also. So I think we're starting the speed round now.
Yes, we can do that.
All right.
We'll do Skulk really quick. All right. So Skulk is a cool looking game.
It looks awesome.
Yes. So Skulk is actually available now, $19.99 at Target. It's from Mixlore Games. It's by Prospero Hall, which people may know from some of the other titles they have out there. Villainous, it's not a Mixlore game, but that's one of their titles, the recent Black Mirror game. So this is a game of bluffing. Everything is contained inside the skull.
Okay.
We have our boards here.
These look cool.
Yes, the different players would have. One of the things that Prospero Hall did with this is they focused a lot on the design because they wanted to have an amazing table presence along with a really cool gameplay experience. So what's going to happen is you are trying to be the last one standing. You have these. Somehow I've pulled out exactly those 3. Here we go. So yeah, these are your little soul tokens here that are going on your board. This basically, think of them almost as your life counter. If you run out of these, you're out of the game.
Okay.
So it just goes around those 4 corners. And then we also have influence tokens that you'll use. So in this case, you have all your influence tokens. I'll just give you a couple since we're kind of running through it really quick.
Those match our player board.
Those will match your player board.
Okay.
And I'm just going to take a couple that don't match just for the sake of having that here. And then you'll have these control tiles out here. They have 2 different sides depending on the number of players.
Okay.
And we'll start with this side since 2 of us. But what's going to happen here is we are trying to be the last one standing. The way we do that is not lose all of our soul tokens off of this.
Fair enough.
So with this game, there's some marbles in this skull, which you can hear.
Don't lose your marbles.
On your turn, yeah, exactly. On your turn, you'll take the skull, and without showing people, you will look at it. The way you look at it, is...
Oh, that's so cool!
Yes. And so one marble will always be in its mouth there. So in this case, you'll notice this is the purple marble. It matches this control.
By the way, nicely set up getting the purple marble.
You like that? See, I did that on purpose. But normally what I would do is I would look at it in here, and I would go, okay, I've got a yellow marble.
Okay.
And you would totally believe me.
Oh, absolutely.
Case, right?
I have full faith in you.
Right.
Yeah.
If you didn't believe me, I don't know why you wouldn't in this case.
You seem like a trustworthy guy. Yeah.
If you didn't, you could challenge me.
Okay.
If you didn't challenge me, I would reveal it, and then I would... So in this case, let's say you didn't challenge me.
Right.
And I was like, haha, it was purple all along.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't know that. I showed it. I would show that, and I would actually get to put one of my influence tokens on the one I claimed it was.
Oh, okay.
But you would know that I'm a dirty bluffer. Now, if you did challenge me on it,
Okay.
and I was caught, I would lose one of these, and you would get to put this on your board. Don't worry, that's not a bad thing.
Okay.
So you would get that claimed. I wouldn't get any influence onto here, and I lost one of my soul tokens.
All right. What if you're telling the truth?
So if you're telling the truth and you challenge, what happens is you lose a soul token.
Okay.
I get to I take this marble here. In this case, it's a gray one.
Marble.
I get to put it on my soul board, and I get to put an influence token out on here.
Oh, double whammy.
Yes.
And if you weren't bluffing and I didn't challenge you on it,
Then let's say it's this one,
Mm-hmm.
I would still reveal it. And in this case, it just goes back in the top of the skull. So it gets put back into the pile.
but you don't add anything.
And then
to-
you add your influence point.
Okay, you still
Yeah.
add. Okay.
So the reason why you're adding these things to here will become apparent in a minute. But what's going to happen is, let's just say for the sake of this, since you have actually matching ones, and I've actually somehow got another one of yours. So as soon as we put enough influence tokens on here to completely fill a control zone, we have to resolve this. The way we do that is we look and see who has the most control over that, which is you.
Yay!
So
I think that's a good thing.
That is a great thing,
Okay,
actually.
perfect.
Because I lose another one of these.
Oh,
Because I don't have control.
and everyone else would lose if
And
he
so
used
let's
multiple-
just say
okay.
we had another player in there. Me and that other player would lose and you would still be okay.
Okay.
Now, if you and I were on here and we were tied, nothing happens. Remove the tokens, you get them back, we keep playing. Now, the thing with these marbles here and why you're keeping them and why it can kind of be helpful is, let's say I've earned enough. You shake it and it gets another, kind of like a fun Pez dispenser. So let's say that I had these 3 here.
Right.
If at any point I have more marbles than I do these remaining soul tokens, I actually get to put one of my influence on anything,
Oh.
anywhere I want, and then I take these and I put them back in here.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's there's a lot going on there. It helps you when you're getting
It's
behind.
kind of a catch-up mechanic
Yeah,
there.
a little bit, but it's not too broken or anything like
Right,
that.
right.
What's great about this game is it is not so, it's not like so deep into other bluffing games where you're constantly trying to play a character,
Right.
where you don't have to worry about always being a liar to your friends, but it's also very strategic.
I don't worry about
Well, I
that.
know, right? Some people have morals. I don't know. But what's nice is you can get really strategic with this game, because if you're trying to kind of put it more like, if I want to lie because I think maybe you're going to call me on it, just because I'm trying to ping you down. So there's a lot of strategy the more you put into. So it's very much a gamer game with this amazing skull.
Yeah, I say this is. I got to play with
feel
this
free.
a little bit. This is an awesome component. This is,
It's amazing. It looks great. They spent a lot of time on this. There's going to be a making of video for this game that's coming out soon.
Really?
Where they talk about the design process and they show the iterations of the skull they went through and like how they worked really hard to make sure that this works every time, and it's actually really cool. And everything just pops right in the back, and then you set this on your shelf. And there you go.
and that doubles as the game box then.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So yeah, this is what it will look like in Target.
Right, retail
So,
packaging.
Yeah, so the pieces are in there for now, but then it all works right in here. So you don't have to worry about having this extra thing with another box kind of floating around.
That's really cool.
But yeah, this is available on store shelves right now, $19.99. Super fun. You're passing the skull around the table,
Yeah.
doing all this cool stuff. So, yep, that is Skulk.
Very cool.
Mixlore, Target exclusive right now.
I love it. I'm going to need one of these.
I think we can work that out.
And then the last thing today.
The last thing is from Hurricane Studios, Hurricane Games.
Top right one is the one we're looking at there. There we go.
Nagaraja. So this is from Bruno Cathala and Theo Revere. In this, it's a 2-player game. We'll do this really quick here.
Oh, you're good on time.
Okay. We are 2, let's say, people after artifacts.
Archaeologists?
collectors, kind of adventuring archaeologists, something like that.
Ones who would raid tombs?
Yeah, maybe.
Gotcha.
We have found these twin temples to these two forgotten divinities.
Okay.
And we are both working to basically explore these temples and get the most relics from them. You'll have these here. So these are the relics that go around this part of the board. You put them face down just randomly.
Okay. Synced up with those spots there. Okay.
Yes, exactly. And so I'll do that on my side. And you're never sure what's under there, except I'm going to show you a couple of mine, just so we
do that. Made a little bit of a mess. It's fine, though. I need 3 more.
Sorry.
Oh, not on
I did a bad job of directing you.
Okay.
This has this blue. This is a prototype. So, but these blue areas, this is where you're entering the temple.
Oh.
So there's no relics there. So those 3 would go up there.
Gotcha.
That's on me.
So that's the light coming in then.
So now we've set up our temples kind of randomly here, and I've left a couple of these out so you can look. So these 3. Those 3 pieces are actually cursed relics. So at any point, if you have uncovered all 3 of those in your temple, you immediately lose.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. To win, you just need to get 25 points.
Okay.
So you could have 2 of those. You see how they're pretty valuable? Because you
Yeah.
also have these other relics that you're finding. So it's like 3 points.
The invisible egg.
Yeah, the invisible egg, exactly. So I could have those 2 out there. As long as I never get that 3rd, I'm safe.
Okay.
Now, the way we're exploring is... Here's the scroll really quick, and again, it's a very simple game. You have your little cheat card here. We'll just give you some cards here to show what's going on. I'm going to try to find some that aren't all green for you.
This picture reminds me of something.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just the hat. I mean, that's a very popular hat.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
at the top of that card, you'll notice those sticks. There's one that's invisible because that's green.
It's green, I promise.
Those are these fate sticks.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Yes. So on our turns, from the cards we have in our hand, we would play out any cards we want that are matching symbols at the top there. I don't know if it's still... Yeah, I'm going to... So you'll see at the top there, that's that symbol. If you had 2 cards, so let's say you also had this one, you could play both of those, and you would roll that many fate sticks. So you'd have 1 brown and 3 white.
Okay.
And in my case, maybe I just play just a white one. So I would collect my 3 white fate sticks. You would collect your... What do we say?
2, 3 white, 1 brown?
3 white and 1 brown.
Yeah.
And then we roll those at the same time.
Okay.
All right. So now to reveal why you're doing that. What's going to happen is you want to explore this temple, obviously. So we have a stack of tiles here that are face down, and then you put one face up. That's the one we're both vying for right now to explore our temple. So in my case, I have 7 points.
Okay.
You have 8 points. And a naga.
I'm sorry, what's the squiggly?
Yeah, we'll get to that squiggly in 1 second.
Gotcha.
Actually, we'll do it now. Why not? So you'll have that one. That means that's going to let you play an additional card from your hand. But instead of, you'll notice that when we had that card, it had some more stuff on it than just the sticks. Mm-hmm. So the stick cards, the fate sticks that you played, those cards are out. But you'll have more cards in your hand that have different abilities that... When you use the Naga symbol, you can play that card and you actually use the different abilities at the bottom of the card.
Oh, okay.
There's arrows at the top that will tell you who it's affecting. So if it's red and pointing away from you, that's going to affect your opponent. And if it's pointing towards you, like a white arrow.
Like these here?
Yes. So in that case, you can choose.
Gotcha.
You can choose who you're going to affect. So once we go through playing these different cards and having different effects, like sometimes they let you get new cards, take a look at different relics, change relics around, really mess with people. Then we go, okay, who won this fate tile? You did. So you get to take this and actually put it into your temple.
Okay.
You start off with it has to connect to one of your entrances to begin.
Right.
So if you did, so in this case, you were like, okay, it works here. So you've made one path.
It looks like I can't get to this artifact.
Exactly.
Now. Oh.
So if you eventually you're like, okay, how do I get there? Well, maybe not that one, but this path now opened up this one.
Right.
As soon as you get to one of those, you can flip it over.
And I got a curse.
You got a curse, but that's okay right now.
Okay.
Right. This is also an amulet. If that shows up, there's these little amulets that are face down. That you actually get to claim. You claim it, and then you just take a look at it yourself. So in this case, it's another small artifact worth a point.
Okay, but that could be the game changer for you.
That could be, right. And there's going to be different effects on different cards that could shift this temple. So let's say I was like, I don't like that you did that, and I shifted that. This actually goes away. You no longer have access to it.
Oh, that's interesting. So in that case, though, if you have two of the cursed artifacts, you could be like,
yeah, so if you wanted to shift it yourself, you're like, I need to flip this around. So the goal, like I said, is to get to 25 points. If you fill in your whole temple with all of these tiles, and you create kind of fun, cool pathway, once it's all filled in, then that's also a game stop where you go, okay, if no one's got 25 points, no one's revealed all the cursed artifacts, but they've got 9 out there, then we just stop and see who has the most points for all the artifacts we've gained. It's a very quick game. It's 2 players, and this it's just got such a cool theme and just the building and going back and forth, but it's super easy to pick up, and I love rolling these things. They're so much fun.
So where can our viewers go to find out more information or to find Nagaraja?
So Nagaraja will be coming out second quarter, so not out yet, but it's coming very soon. And you'll see more on Hurricane has a website, and then also if they go to the Asmodee North America Facebook page, we'll have more news about that as well.
Fantastic. Jared, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Really do appreciate it. And thank all of you for watching at home. Stay tuned throughout the day here as we bring you more coverage from GAMA 2019. Signing off for now, though, I'm Matt. Have a good one, everyone.